Okay, so overall, let's talk numbers. This is an 8-foot wide, 12-foot long. It's a almost 6-foot high A-frame chicken tractor, chicken coop. I did have some of the materials on hand, but I did have to purchase a fair amount to build this. I just added everything up, and I'll put a breakdown in the description below. But believe it or not, at today's prices, even at today's prices, if you had to buy everything to build this, this would be under $500. I've got just a little over, or if you were buying all this, you would have a little over $400 in materials here. And this is October 2021. I probably have about half of that because some of this wood I did have on hand, but the chicken wire, that was $40 a roll, and I got 3 rolls of that, used 2.5 of them. The roofing was $27 a piece, and it took 3 pieces to do the roof. I had one on hand, so I had to buy some of the lumber, had to buy some staples and some screws. But if you were going to buy all this, including the hardware, including screws, including the roofing, including the 1/2-inch hardware cloth, you're talking about $400 to $500 here. So it's not a lot, you know, especially if you look at the pre-built chicken coops that you can buy at Rural King or Tractor Supply or order online. You know, you're talking about spending $300 to $500 for a really small, cheaply built chicken coop that, you know, might not last more than a season or two. You know, you can spend $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 on some of the larger, you know, pre-made stuff that's about this size. You know, here we've got almost 100 square feet of area underneath this for the chickens to peck at. You can walk inside this. You know, it's full walkable to get in. This way, if you have a chicken that's laying eggs in the corner, or you've got to get in there to clean something out, you can walk inside, get to all areas of this chicken tractor. And it's mobile, so I can hook this onto my tractor and I can drag it anywhere it needs to go. I suppose if we put a couple of wheels down here at this end underneath the nesting box and a couple of handles down here at this end, you probably, you know, certainly 2 people, but, you know, maybe 1 strong person could pick this up and drag it, you know, a little bit. Once you get this in your area, you know, you're probably not moving it that far anyways. You're probably only moving it 12, 15 feet at a time, you know, to get some new grass underneath it for the chickens to be, you know, happy in. So, you know, this is mobile also, but it's also very stable. The A-frame structure, you know, keeps the center of gravity pretty low. This was very stable when I moved it. I built it way over there by my driveway and drug it all the way out here with the tractor. It didn't twist or rack. It didn't, you know, it didn't deflect. The wire and the roofing, surprisingly, you know, I've got these diagonal braces on the A-frames, but the wire and the roofing, it makes this surprisingly rigid. This whole thing is surprisingly rigid. It will twist a little bit like this if you lift it unevenly from one side to the other. So you want to be careful with that. But if you lift it straight up or you pull it straight back, it's very rigid. Especially, you know, when I was dragging this and I was coming around a turn, it kept its shape. It didn't rack or twist out of square, and it sits very well on the ground. It's heavy enough to where I believe, you know, most predators aren't going to be able to lift it up to get underneath it. Time will tell on that. But it certainly, if you've got the tools and the know-how and the time to do it, it's a worthwhile project for your chickens. And this one's been way overdue for us. We've been needing a new chicken coop for a while, and I've just been putting it off, and it was finally time to get it. So hope you guys liked this video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I'd love to hear your feedback and help answer any questions you have. You know, you know, in terms of tools, if you've got a drill and a circular saw, you know, a staple gun would be nice also, but you know, that's really all you need for this. You know, I used an angle grinder to cut the metal, but you know, you don't need specialized tools. You don't really need specialized know-how. The angles, you know, they can be kind of scary to figure out, but you know, the easiest way is to hold the material up and mark it, you know, and just cut to your marks instead of trying to figure out the angles. That's what I did here. I screwed two pieces together, kind of like a TP frame, and put it on each of the runners, and I scribed a line at the peak, and I scribed a line at the bottom, and cut it off. I did that one time and used that as a template for all the other ones, so it was pretty easy. Okay, so it's day 3 on this project, and I just wrapped it up. I apologize for not getting more footage today, like I did on the other days working on this. So, like I said, this is the 3rd day that I worked on it. Probably 2 or 3 hours today, maybe 10 to 12 hours total on this project. What I finished up today, obviously you can see the roof is on. This is some corrugated metal roofing that I got. I had one piece left over, and I picked up a couple pieces at the store. These were 12-foot pieces that I cut in half to make 5 6-foot long pieces, 2 on this side, 2 on the other side, and then 1 that I folded over the ridge of the roof. I'm going to create the roof, and just fastened it with screws. What else did I finish today? I mounted the door back here. So we've got some hinges on the bottom and a couple of gate latches on the top, or barrel latches on the top. These just flip up like this, and the door pops open and just flips down like that, and you have full access to the nesting boxes. Got 4 nesting boxes there. Painted the deck, and you'll notice went ahead and removed that chicken wire that I had there and just put a full piece of plywood on there. I thought it was a little janky with that chicken wire back there. I was thinking that it would catch less chicken poop and it would fall through, but after thinking it over a little bit more, I think this is probably a better setup. And then I painted it so it's a little more resistant and slightly easier to clean. I've seen some people do linoleum on these, and just didn't get around to getting a piece of it. Otherwise, that probably would have been the best setup, is to put a piece of sheet linoleum on the bottom to clean this off. But I like the way this worked out. You don't have to go inside the coop. In our current chicken coop setup, it's not mobile, and the nesting boxes, you have to get inside the coop with the chickens, which is kind of a pain in the butt. This way you can just walk up to the outside, clean off the nesting box, you know, clean out the eggs, clean off anything here, and then you can just flip this door back up. These latches hold it closed. Finished stapling all the wire. Used 3/4 inch galvanized staples in my 18 gauge staple gun. Makes this so much easier. I was trying to do it with my hand staple gun and quickly realized that was not the right tool for the job. So brought the compressor out and the staple gun. And it's so much better, and so much better attached to the framing than it was with those hand staples. And I put a lot in it at the bottom. I went about every 2 to 3 inches with the staples. Again, you can see on the ends where I overlapped the wire from the top onto the wire on the side here, the wire on the end. It creates a nice secure connection, and then just good overlaps on each of these A-frame members here, so that nothing can get in. What else did I do on this today? So I finished stapling all the wire. I had run out of staples, had to go back to Lowe's to get more staples. Mounted the door. So just a couple of cheap gate hinges there and a gate latch to hold the door in place. The door is nothing special. It's just some of this 2x3 that I cut. It's got, you know, a couple screws in each end to hold the rails to the stiles, and then a couple of these right angle braces and a couple of little scrap pieces of wood that I cut and screwed this way with a screw in each one for the diagonal braces. So it's a pretty secure setup. I do want to add a spring to this to pull this closed automatically, so that when we go into the coop, that it closes automatically behind us and it stays closed while we're in there. The gate latch, nothing special here, just a standard gate latch to keep this secure when we're not out here. On all these hardware, on all these pieces of hardware, instead of using the screws that came with it, I used at least one in each, a 1 5/8" deck screw. And same thing with the hinges. I took one of the screws out and put an 1 5/8" there, 1 5/8" here. Same thing at the bottom, same thing at the other end. Just makes that connection a lot better, a lot more secure. So this opens up, go in. The other thing that I did today is I built this little ramp out of some scrap 1x4s and some 1x2s that nail together, and attached it to the center brace and to the platform, so that when we move this coupe around, the ramp goes with it, and it doesn't need, we don't need to get back in here to move the ramp around. That's really all that I had to do today. I had a lot of it done last weekend when I worked on it, and just had to cut and fit the metal, do some more stapling, fit the door. So that's what we got done today. So overall, let's talk